and gentlemen, one of the pioneers of the Organization of African Unity, the first president of the Republic of Cote d'Ivoire, Félix Houphouët-Boigny, created an agriculture policy and called it cultiver la terre, meaning cultivate the land. He developed a slogan and a national tagline and said, "Le succès repose sur l'agriculture." The success of this country depends on agriculture. We have gathered here because we believe in a man who believes that Ghana has the potential to change the face of our economy. If you look at Cote d'Ivoire today, Cote d'Ivoire is the leading agriculture powerhouse of West Africa. Cote d'Ivoire is the largest exporter of cocoa and cashew. Cote d'Ivoire is making strides because of cultiver la terre. But we have gathered here because this is the man who believes that Ghana has the potential to overtake Cote d'Ivoire in all natural resources. Ghana has the potential to bring back our economy to life because Ghana was the biggest exporter of cocoa. Today, the future of Ghana's economy will largely be dependent on what we call agriculture. And the man who we believe can spearhead that project, that policy, that magnificent project is called Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto. And it is the beginning of several lectures which we are starting right here at the University of Professional Studies, Accra. And I must confess, this auditorium is the best auditorium in Ghana. This Kofi Ohene-Kunadu auditorium is the most magnificent auditorium we have in the country. And we give credit to the school authorities and of course those who came before them. UPSA has become a center for public lecture. UPSA has become a center of academic excellence. If you are part of UPA, a round of applause for yourself. It's always an honor and a privilege to be here to coordinate what we call a public lecture by Honorable Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto. And before we move on, I'd like to invite Reverend Tiasa Bongujiri to give us the opening prayer. Shall we welcome Rev to give us the opening prayer?
We are people of different faiths and denominations. May I invite us to pause for a moment and acknowledge the presence of God in our midst. Almighty God, you created the universe and everything that is good for our well-being and invited us to share in your divine life. You have given humanity your creative power to further your goodwill here on earth. We acknowledge our limitations of not always knowing what is best for us now and for the future. But since everything has its source and summit in you, we humbly beg of you to be part of our toiling, our thinking pattern, and our actions. Breathe life into our deliberations, that our words may not be empty, but may transform into something long-lasting, just as your word is alive. We believe that when you are with us, your wisdom will guide us to do what is good and just. You have instilled in the world everything we need to bring us closer to you and to serve you in one another. Teach us to discern your footprints in nature. Teach us to distill your voice from the chaos that drifts us far away from your intended goodness for us. Tune our ears to be attentive to the positive ideas emerging from the voices that surround us in this room, and amplify the paths your Spirit is inviting us to tread. We make our prayer in faith through Christ our Lord.
We thank you so much, but we appeal to you to exercise a lot of restraint. Some person can cheer. It's someone. Mr. Ahadie and the Brafu Kwan Ebeka. You. Aha. It's someone. Yes, sir. Just say separate one. Brafon Kwan Nebeka. And Timunya di and for my Muya dia Sika de Mavano, about the Wono. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Please, please, please. Now, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are live on GTV because this is a very important lecture to be delivered by Honorable Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto. The future of Ghana's economy largely depending on agriculture. I remember, because we are on GTV, they told me, Kwame, at exactly 3 o'clock, Dr. Akoto should be speaking. If you check your time, I have just about 5 minutes. But we are live on GTV, we are live on CTTV, we are live on several TV stations. Today is one of the important days in our life because the man is pragmatic, the man has wisdom, and the man has the ability to push this economy forward. So, somebody lead for 120 years. In the day of writing his tributes, we couldn't write 2 paragraphs because there was no impact of his life on the people around him. Grant me some latitude to go through the resume of the man. Because of him, we are here. It's a very lengthy one because he has so much to say. And as we say in Akan, wabobra inti akutosu udibia a year. Now, our distinguished speaker and his first degree from the University of Ghana, with a Bachelor of Science in Agriculture. He also holds MSc and PhD in Agricultural Economics from the University of Cambridge, England. Throughout the course of 18 years at the International Coffee Organization in London, he occupied the positions of senior economist, principal economist, and chief economic advisor. The World Bank and the United Nations both employed him as a consultant in cocoa, coffee, and sugar affairs. He is a Ghanaian and a proud one indeed, who has become the Chief Executive Officer of Commodities Limited and the Plantation Resources Limited from 1995 to 2007. He was elected a member of Parliament in 2008 to represent the people of Kwadaso, Kumasi in Ashanti region. And his mandate was renewed for another term in 2012. He served as a deputy ranking member and a substantive ranking member of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Food, Agriculture, and Cocoa Affairs. In 2017, he was appointed the Minister of Food and Agriculture to oversee the development of Ghana's agriculture and maintaining food security right here in Ghana. Most of all, to implement government flagship program of planting for food and jobs. Under his leadership, Ghana has seen major transformation in the agri sector, moving from not being on track in 2017 to being on track in 2019 on the Africa Agriculture Transformation Scoreboard. That same year, Ghana was ranked 4th on the African continent by the Economic Intelligence Unit in its Global Food Security Index. Under his stewardship, the production of maize moved from 1.7 million metric tons in 2006 to 3.4 million metric tons in 2021. A round of applause. Rice production increased from 665,000 metric tons in 2016 to 1.2 million metric tons under planting for food and jobs. Another round of applause. In the year 2020, through his ingenuity, the Tree Crop Development Authority was established by Parliament to coordinate and promote the growth of 6 tree crops: cashew, rubber, oil palm, coconut, mango, and shea. Now, he told me somewhere last night, including some of my colleague journalists, that these selected crops have a combined potential of generating $12 billion to supplement the annual $2 billion from cocoa. So it means that when he becomes president, he has a way of transforming our economy and moving the cocoa production, and in fact giving us more money, additional $10 billion. A round of applause once again. This is creativity and innovation. In every department of agri sector, there has been major transformations, from irrigation to greenhouses to poultry and disease control. Today, Ghana has built 65 warehouses across the country, with 25 more in various stages of completion. Today, KFC, Burger King, ShopRite, Palace Mall, all over the country sell Ghana vegetables. And under his leadership, the leadership of the transformational leader, the father of agri, the hope of farmers and fishers, the seed champion of Africa, the proud son of the iconic royal patriot, Patriotic Akoto, with standing ovation, shall we all welcome our distinguished speaker of this moment, Honorable Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The chairman for this event, Mr. Alfred Boy, former regional chairman of the MPP in Greater Accra region. The co-chairman of the event, Mr. Kenwood Nuosu, former regional chairman of the MPP for Volta region. All NPP regional chairmen present, all constituency chairmen present, the faculty members of the University of Professional Studies, executive members and members of the NPP, special invited guests, members of TESCON, students of the University of Professional Studies and other students here present, friends of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm deeply honored to be here in this great institution, the University of Professional Studies, to deliver this speech, which marks my maiden entry into the Flagbearer race of the new Patriotic Party. The topic for today's lecture is the future of the economy of Ghana, transforming agriculture for the prosperity of all of us. I'm pleased to mention that we are live on several media platforms, and we have Ghanaians tuning in from all across Ghana and the diaspora, Africans and the international community. I thank the University of Professional Studies for providing this platform for this maiden event of mine. When I began my journey into politics in Ghana in 1990, with the formation of the United Kingdom branch of the Dankwa Buzia Club, with stalwarts like the late Mr. J.H. Mensah, little did I know that one day I would be contesting for the highest position of the new Patriotic Party. At this moment, I cannot help but recall my childhood with my father, Ochame Bafo Akoto, who left many lessons in his wake for us all, including myself, to learn from and build on. Now, as you might imagine, as a young boy, I was not always happy following my father around, whether it was to Manshia Palace or to the northern regions of this country. Like many young boys my age, there were times I would have preferred to have fun with my friends or stay by my mother's side. My mother was a professional teacher back then and is alive today at the blessed age of 95. Watching my father's commitment to the public service, both as a traditional leader and a modern political leader at the time, defined the key moments in my life as I grew up. He instilled in me the passion for service and to serve my motherland Ghana with all that is within me, even if it cost me an arm and a leg. For those who know me well, I'm known to be, in brackets, confident, very passionate, and to have strong views on many subjects. Frequently, I've often been perceived as being too serious and arrogant, but that is far from the reality. In fact, I'm a very friendly person. very open-hearted, and an affable person. As I stand before you here today to share my vision for the future, I'm moved by the immense support that I have received so far, ever since I announced my intention to contest the flagbearership of the MPP race. I never knew there were so many who have quietly followed my progress in politics over the years and continue to do with me. It is also intentional that we chose this venue as the entry point to my contest. Universities are citadels for ideas that generate the innovations for sustainable development. They provide not just educated workers or job seekers, but knowledge workers who are able to expect to create jobs in a society. The future of Ghana depends on you, students. Dear students, what you are learning in your various academic pursuits today will determine whether we as a nation can meet our greatest challenges in the future. We need every single one of you to develop your talents, skills, and your intellect so you can help us, the older ones, to solve our problems. The nation's most difficult problems are here with us. I strongly believe agriculture will lift Ghana out of poverty and assure us not only of food and nutrition security, but also generate the necessary resources for the development of the other sectors, including industry, health, education, and infrastructure in the medium to long term. Mr. Chairman, globally, there is a new economic order emerging. This is evident from the current economic challenges confronting the world. Food, renewable energy, water, and big data will drive this new order. Africa, and for that matter, Ghana, has the potential to lead this new order by strengthening all sectors of the economy and transforming agriculture sustainably to feed and enrich its people, whilst contributing to the food and nutrition needs of the 9.7 billion people by 2050, as estimated by the United Nations Population Fund. Africa is plagued with a difficulty in transforming its agricultural sector into a driver of sustainable development, food security, and improved livelihood. And I admit that Africa has not done enough. Over 200 million Africans continue to struggle with food insecurity. This issue has been further deepened by COVID-19, the effects of climate change on agricultural production, political instability across the continent, macroeconomic instability, and the raging debt crisis that many African governments face, including our own. Despite these obstacles, the agricultural sector offers immense and significant opportunities for transforming Africa's economy from a net importer of food to the provider of food to the rest of the world. In Ghana, here, we are facing many challenges, such as high rate of unemployment at 13.9% as at the second quarter of 2022, high rate of inflation at 54% as at February 2023, as well as the economic crisis which we find ourselves in now. Mr. Chairman, in most advanced countries today, agriculture was a driver of economic development. Brazil, China, Malaysia, and Thailand are recent examples of the agricultural success stories. The European Union gives us an example of how investments in agriculture can impact economic transformation. The development of improved seeds of crops through plant breeding between the year 2000 and 2020, led by Germany, France, Italy, Spain, and the United Kingdom, contributed immensely to the EU economy, including increased yields, improved market, increase in world food supply, security, and trade. These prevented the European Union from becoming a net importer in all major crops, including wheat and other cereals. The development and scaling up of improved varieties of crops was indispensable for combating hunger and malnutrition in the EU, making food available to 114 million of its citizens and increasing social welfare by significant margins. This injected 26 billion euros into the European economy and secured more than an additional 90,000 direct jobs in its agricultural value chain. Mr. Chairman, Ghana's dream of using agriculture as a driver for economic development can be traced back as far as the 1920s, when the then governor, Gordon Gajesbet, made pronouncement backed by initial investment to make agriculture work. Successive governments since then have made various attempts towards agricultural development in this direction. Yet, there has been inadequate commitment to full agricultural transformation. However, as the immediate past Minister for Food and Agriculture, I am confident that the Akufo-Addo government has laid a solid foundation upon which a thriving, sustainable agriculture can be built in all the coming years. May I seek your indulgence to present to this audience the foundations that have been laid under my watch in the 6 years of my stewardship of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. Food security. The government made significant investment in farm inputs in order to increase agricultural productivity, to raise the incomes of farmers, and to achieve national food security. The Ministry of Food and Agriculture procured and distributed a total of 1.4 million metric tons of fertilizer and 93,192 metric tons of improved seeds, which were distributed to over 1.7 million farmers from 2017 to 2021. As a result of these measures, maize yields increased from 1.8 metric tons per hectare to 4 metric tons per hectare. Soya yields increased from 1 metric ton per hectare to 2.5 metric tons per hectare in the period from 2017 to 2021. With the famous Planting for Food and Jobs intervention, production of maize has risen, doubled from 1.7 million metric tons in 2016 to 3.6 million metric tons in 2021, as the famous MC mentioned in the introduction. Soya from 143,000 metric tons to 230,000 metric tons over the same period. An estimated investment of 2.6 billion Ghana cedis was made as subsidy on improved seeds and fertilizers for the period 2017-2021. The value of production from the application of these subsidized inputs of seeds and fertilizer is estimated at 47.5 billion Ghana cedis. Isn't that a major achievement? If I took 2.6 cedis from government to subsidize fertilizer and seeds to farmers, and they gave me 47.5 cedis, I mean, I think that all banks should be giving me money to develop agriculture. This is a huge economic rate of return on public expenditure on the farm subsidy program. In 2017, 202,000 farmers Planting for Food and Job Subsidy Program. By 2021, the beneficiaries had grown to 1.7 million farmers. Out of the total farmer population of 3.1 million in Ghana, as captured by the Agricultural Census in 2018, which I conducted, the first in 38 years. crop diversification, Ghana has fallen into an almost perpetual cycle of dependency on external financial support from the International Monetary Fund and other bilateral partners to sustain our economy. In 66 years of our independence, Ghana has approached the IMF on 17 different occasions to borrow. The lesson from our journey with IMF and the bilateral donors is indicative of the export earning capacity of the economy of Ghana. In the short to medium term, only the agricultural sector can establish that capacity to achieve sustained rapid economic growth. I strongly believe that prioritizing agriculture is a sure way for achieving the accelerated growth needed in other sectors of the economy and creating the much-needed job for our people, especially the youth. During my tenure as the Minister for Food and Agriculture, I initiated the establishment of the Tree Crop Development Authority under an Act of Parliament, Act 1010, in the year 2019. By the following year, 2020, the Tree Crop Development Authority had been established in Kumasi. The authority seeks to coordinate and promote 6 tree crops: cashew, rubber, oil palm, coconut, mango, and shea. The goal of the authority is to develop, produce, and distribute the selected cash crop seedlings to farmers so as to produce and generate a combined potential export earnings of between 6 to 12 billion cedis every year after 8 to 10 years of its implementation. $6 to $12 billion a year. If this organization is taken care of very well, we'll be able to bring that kind of resource into our economy. We wouldn't need an IMF or anybody else. At their full development, the additional 6 to 12 billion per year in earnings can complement the less than 2 billion annual. The TCDA was designed to receive a seed fund of $15 million, only $15 million, in the first 3 years of its operation. Unfortunately, it is in its 3rd year of operation. It has so far received only $1.3 million, equivalent to only a quarter of what is needed to take off such a very important strategic operation. By prioritizing the tree crop subsector, we would have weaned off our financial dependency on the IMF and other bilateral donors. If we had started this journey decades ago, we would have been reaping the economic benefit for the prosperity of all. In Côte d'Ivoire, total annual export earnings from 5 cash crops, cashew, cocoa, coffee, rubber, and palm oil, fetches that economy some $8 billion every year, compared to the less than $2 billion that we do in Ghana. Côte d'Ivoire, which started this program decades ago, has been enjoying these economic benefits of tree crops all these years. Cocoa. In addition, the National Cocoa Rehabilitation Program has been designed to renew the productive capacity of the cocoa industry. The program was launched in 2020 to scale up the promotion and production of cocoa to provide more income to the economy and farmers and create more jobs. As a result of the success of the program, thousands of farmers who had abandoned their cocoa farms due to the devastating effects of the cocoa swollen shoot virus disease have returned to their farms. And I've visited a lot of such farms in Western North region, around Serioso, Asawinso, and other places. And you'll be delighted to see the results after only 2.5 years of implementation. An important part of the program for the cocoa rehabilitation is to support the private sector to expand local cocoa processing, vigorous promotion to boost domestic and international consumption, and promote market expansion of the export of cocoa products into new markets. The National Cocoa Rehabilitation Program, when fully implemented, will generate more foreign exchange earnings from cocoa. Horticultural development through greenhouse production. Mr. Chairman, during my time as Minister of Agriculture, I implemented the construction of 3 greenhouse training centers with an attached commercial unit at Dawinya here in Greater Accra, Akomadan in Ashanti region, and Bogiase in the Central region for training. So far, 537 youth in high quality has been trained in high quality vegetable production. These vegetables are sold to high-end shops such as Palace Mall, ShopRite, Starbucks, KFC, and Burger King in Tema, Accra, and in Kumasi. As part of the training, 540 youth, trainees, and students from various tertiary institutions in agriculture were sent to Israel for an 11-month paid internship to gain practical experience in modern farming practices. These were part of the efforts to attract youth into agriculture. The returnees from Israel are assisted to set up their own farm enterprises. Rearing for food and the promotion of protein in the diet of Ghanaians is critical to the health of the nation. The livestock subsector plays a significant role in the provision of proteins in our food. There's a plan at the ministry to create a poultry development authority to promote the industry. Under my watch, the veterinary services have seen substantial improvements. We have installed new laboratories, re-equipped old ones, and recruited 500 additional veterinary personnel. We have also encouraged and supported local meat processing and substantially expanded soya bean production, all to support the livestock industry. Nevertheless, Ghana's poultry industry still faces very serious challenges. Key amongst them is the high cost of feed and the high importation of poultry products. There is a double-edged solution to this. The first is to regulate the importation of chicken and other meat products into the country, and secondly, to address the cost of feed. This will be tackled as a major responsibility of the incoming Grains Development Authority, which I will speak on later. As part of its responsibilities, the Grains Development Authority will purchase grains at the time of the harvest when the prices are low, store the grains, and release them to the poultry farmers and other stakeholders during the dry season when prices are very high. In addition, when seasonal prices rise, various interventions have been made to increase production in the other areas of livestock. Agricultural mechanization. The ministry had received and distributed a total of 12,200 pieces of agricultural machinery and equipment from Brazil, Czech Republic, and China at 40% subsidy to the farmers. The machinery includes tractors, harvesters, irrigation equipment, food processing, and post-harvest management equipment. Additionally, a tractor assembly plant is being established near Owusu in Ashanti region. Processes have been concluded with the Exim Bank of India to provide a facility to import $150 million worth of farm and agro-processing machinery. Shipments are expected in Ghana in the course of this year, 2023. Of the machinery so far received, 32 district assemblies and selected private sector operators have benefited from a scheme to create centers to provide hiring services to both the small and the large-scale farmers. Mr. Chairman, in addition to the 5 modules of the Planting for Food and Jobs discussed above, I led the creation of institutions to drive the gains made so far. Apart from the Tree Crop Development Authority, the institutions are as follows: Grains Development Authority, irrespective of limited resources and global crises such as COVID, climate change, amongst others. Under my leadership of the sector, Ghana has improved its food security index and made food available to all year round. The country has also been transformed into the breadbasket of West Africa, maintaining self-sufficiency in our stable crops. This is a practical example of agricultural resilience to the Ghanaian economy. To this end, there is currently a bill before Parliament for the establishment of the Grains Development Authority. This bill seeks to amend the Grains Development Authority Law of 1970 under Dr. Buzia Act 324. The authority will be responsible for promoting research and development, production, marketing, and exports. It will be a regulatory body. Agricultural credit. A memorandum proposing legislation requiring all commercial banks to increase loanable funds to agriculture and its value chain have been submitted to Cabinet for approval and onward submission to Parliament to pass a law to that effect. This legislation is to address the acute shortage of agricultural credit in this country. Only 3.1% of total loanable funds in this country by our banks go to agriculture. And when you examine that 3.1, you'll find that more than half of that is for the purchases of cocoa. So it's really trading, not agriculture as such. Also in the pipeline are draft cabinet memoranda for the establishment of the Horticultural Development Authority and the Poultry Development Authority. Mr. Chairman, our development is too big, mantra. But we should not forget, like cocoa board have served this country so well. These new commodity institutions, are designed on the cocoa board model. They are designed to spearhead development of targeted subsectors to support farmers to produce more for export and ensure the availability of nutritious food for consumers in Ghana. Women in agriculture. Mr. Chairman, the global and national goal to achieve equality, equity, and inclusion for all women is a critical step for the economic empowerment of all women. I can see that the women are clapping more than the men. The contribution of women in agriculture is extensive and includes the role of providing labor for weeding, planting, harvesting, and processing, accounting for over 70% of food crop production in this country. Now I see the balance between the men and the women clapping. Yet, many women across the country involved in farming are plagued with issues of illiteracy, lack of knowledge or appreciation of technology, land acquisition and ownership issues, amongst many others. If these issues were addressed, productivity would be increased significantly to the benefit of all of us. Now, I want to share some personal experiences that I've had in the 6 years of my stewardship of the ministry. During my time as minister, I have traveled extensively across the country and learned important lessons on the fields of the farmers. I'll share a few with you. In a small village in the Volta region in 2018, I met a widow, Mawena, who grows maize, okra, garden eggs, pepper to sell. In order to feed 15 people in her household, which included 5 biological children, 5 other children that she also takes care of, and 5 grandchildren. I learned from Mawena that all she needed was a supply of improved seeds and some basic technology to triple her yields on the same size farm that she'd been operating. In moving forward, we must engage to create commonwealth that sees to the needs of the common people. There's a need for a new innovative business model, value addition, productive stakeholder engagement, including the youth, smallholder farmers, and large-scale farmers, all in agribusiness for adequate and affordable food and high-value export to fully benefit the gains from the sector. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. From a conversation I picked up with Yawadu, a tomato farmer in Akumadan in Offensive District, lack of basic literacy skills results in making of poor farming decisions, which eventually affects his yield and profit. These include inability to read and make uninformed decisions to purchase ordinary seeds for the market rather than improved seeds. Fauzia Garba, one of the many women in Yendi, cannot afford to buy fertilizer, certified seed, or even gain access to high tractor services for the timely plowing of her land. Most farmers in Ghana do not have access or the know-how to operate basic farming technologies and systems. Most do not own phones, and some of the few who have may only use it for just making calls and receiving calls, but not have the know-how to basic interventions delivered as alerts via SMS to inform them of the weather forecast, available markets for their produce, and so on. Mr. Chairman, today many farmers and agro-processors may be watching or listening to me as I speak. The stories of Mawena, Yawadu, and Fauzi Garaba may not be different from yours. In reality, many current and potential farmers across the country have yet to receive the much needed education, technology, and support they need in order to succeed. I can confidently inform the lives of Mawena, Yawadu, and Fauzia, and value chain actors that government policies on agriculture will be formulated with their interests at the topmost consideration. On the other side, there's celebrate. At an Nigeria Farmers Forum, I encountered a female farmer who said this at the forum, and I quote her, "Honorable, in the past, farming was exclusively the exclusive domain of illiterates like us. But now one finds all kinds of professionals, including mechanics, teachers, nurses, doctors, and lawyers who have taken over our work. This is a clear manifestation of how planting for food and jobs has attracted professionals to farming." Same forum, a former colleague of mine, an opposition member of parliament for the area, recounted how the PFJ program provided a catalyst for him to invest heavily in seed production. The program has also recorded such positive stories across various communities in Ghana. Last year in Asamankasi, I met 2 medical doctors who had hung up their stethoscopes to become full-time farmers. One was a coconut farmer and the other a food crop farmer. Isn't that wonderful? I cannot end my stories without sharing one also personal experiences with the king of Mamprusi, the Nairi, who has been a farmer all his life. In December 2019, just before the COVID hit, when I visited his palace in Nalerigu, he was full of praises for PFJ. He informed me that for the first time in his community, stocks of new maize which were being harvested at the time of my visit had been brought into his barn, when old stocks from the that wasn't the case. Mr. Chairman, the king was acknowledging the success of PFJ program in his kingdom. Mr. Chairman, while acknowledging that there is a lot of room for improvement in the PFJ, the story that I have shared provides some evidence that the implementation of the program has been a resounding success. As indicated earlier, government expenditure on improved seeds and fertilizers amounted to 2.6 billion Ghana cedis. To optimize the gains of such investment, we must further invest in the education of farmers like Yeodu, wherever they are in this country. There is the need for a new innovative business model, value addition, productive stakeholder engagement, including the youth, smallholder farmers, and large-scale farmers, all in agribusiness. The new paradigm, the critical success stories. Now I want to go into areas that we need to look at very carefully. There is the urgent need for things to be done differently if we are to succeed in transforming our agriculture. The critical success factors in our transformation agenda will hinge on the following: political will. Ghana has to prioritize agricultural transformation at the highest level of government through the implementation of a well-defined vision and strategy. The investment needed to achieve sustainable food systems will be non-negotiable in my vision to transform agriculture for the prosperity of all. The first Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, once said, and I quote him, "Everything can wait, but not agriculture," unquote. Everything can wait, but not agriculture, unquote. Governance structure. In addition to the economic management team headed by the Vice President, there shall be a newly created agricultural management team chaired by the President himself to drive agricultural development. The AMT shall comprise 7 agri-related ministries, namely Food and Agriculture, Finance, Trade and Industry, Lands and Natural Resources, Transport, Local Government and Rural Development, and Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation. Supply chain logistics and market access. To improve supply chain logistics and expand market access, infrastructure projects such as feeder roads, hospitals, housing, rural electrification, irrigation and storage will be an integral part of the transformation agenda. Big data and technology for evidence will be the basis for decision making. Significant investment shall be made in big data and technology for precise evidence-based decision making in partnership with the private sector. Agricultural policy must be evidence. It is essential that policymakers, farmers and actors in the value chain are trained to access the benefits of data for decision making. Precision agriculture that gives farmers the ability to use inputs more effectively to increase productivity will be prioritized. We ensure that target users of technology are involved in every stage of the process. This will provide opportunities to empower the youth and create new jobs. Research and development. I shall appropriately fund the research endeavors of the diverse National Agricultural Research Institutes, including the universities, in areas such as agronomy, extension, plant breeding, integrated fertility, integrated pest and disease control, post-harvest management, and climate-smart technologies. We need to curb the effects of climate change and sustain yields in farmers' fields. We must grow crops that are resilient to withstand drought, heavy rains, and heat. Sustainable investment in science, technology, and innovation in agricultural development will offer prosperity to all of us, including smallholder farmers. I shall establish an appropriate regulatory framework to leverage private sector investment across all sectors and promote the efficient distribution of agro inputs. In addition, the regulatory framework will seek to develop platforms for agricultural innovations, output market structures, and incentives that allow for the full realization of the value. A well-funded and competitive private sector can manage and allocate skill and capital to scale up agro-processing, value addition, and drive long-term sustainable agribusinesses for job creation. A comprehensive strategy will be adopted to develop the human capital needed to take innovation to scale along the entire agricultural commodity chain. This will include farmer field schools, demonstration plots, development of agropreneurs, training of agricultural extension agents, and value chain actors to improve efficiency. We shall also support social development programs aimed at reducing illiteracy among rural households and farmers to increase adoption of new technology. We shall develop curricula in our educational system that shall equip students with a mindset, knowledge, and skills for agricultural education. Mr. Chairman, my overall vision for Ghana, agriculture-led growth for transformation of the economy, will be achieved through innovation, value addition, and entrepreneurship for self-reliant, wealthy, and a healthy nation. In the next 7 years, the population of Ghana is expected to increase by 5 million people. There will be more mouths to feed amidst global economic and health crises, conflicts, and an ever-changing environmental climate and other threats. It is imperative that we use science, technology, and innovation to accelerate the growth of agriculture. I believe I have provided data to show that agriculture can drive prosperity. The need for Ghana to buy into a long-term strategy that drives prosperity for all is critical. The key pillars that I have outlined as critical success factors will inform a clear vision for a medium to long-term strategy to develop agriculture for the prosperity of all of us. Agricultural development in countries like Ghana should not be addressed with ad hoc measures. To achieve sustainable development, the National Development Planning Commission would be tasked to put before the AMT, that's the Agricultural Management Team, that I have proposed a long-term vision for agricultural development. What I shall do is to take full responsibility for the agricultural transformation agenda in Ghana and ensure that we prosecute a long-term strategy for agricultural development backed by required necessary public resources. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, what I have learned working with Ghanaian farmers in the past 6 years especially, is that they need little persuasion to be called into action. The minimal incentive of the FAG subsidy and others was enough to generate unprecedented growth in the agricultural sector, 8.4% in 2021. Never happened in the Fourth Republic. Thank you. This, such hard work of the Ghanaian farmer represents a resource that the nation ought to tap into to get us out of the clutches of borrowing to finance our development. I'm appealing to all of us that we go back to the land, because it is the land that births civilization on earth, and it is how we use our God-given land that will take us to the status of the first world that we all wish to become. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I must reiterate here that agriculture is a means to our end. The Tree Crop Development Authority and the other institutions outlined in this talk can potentially generate substantial export earnings to fund industrial development, finance social sectors such as health, education, housing, infrastructure, roads, among others, to reduce on external sources of funding. We have hope in this country. We can build the Ghana we want through agriculture. I thank you all for your kind attention.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. The standing ovation is appropriate. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This is the future of Ghana's economy. Thank you. Perfect delivery. Excellent presentation. And this is the future of Ghana's economy. A lecture delivered by Honorable Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto. We thank you. Thank you. Shall we all take our seats? Thank you. Thank you. Shall we observe some silence here? Yeah, okay. All right. It's okay. All right. Too much noise, please. It's okay. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. Please, let's observe some silence here. It's okay. It's okay. Sike dada ya. Yan for being home. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Another round of applause for our distinguished speaker, Honorable Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto. Won't you say it was a State of the Nation address in 2025? What we observe here is similar to State of the Nation address in 2025. The delivery, the presentation, the delivery, the presentation, indeed the analysis are all on point. And then I'd like to commend the Akoto for President team for this wonderful occasion. This organization has been put together by the National Coordinator of Akoto for President 2024 team, the leadership of Peter Otin Dako. Thank you so much, Peter Otin Dako, for this colorful event. And of course, my friend Redwine Isa Alasa, aka Khalifa. Thank you so much for your support. And of course, my big boss, Mr. Sasu Mensah, head of the organization. Thank you. Thank you. Now, Dr. Akoto kept referring to Mr. Chairman. And indeed, we have Mr. Chairman here. But before I introduce our chairman, this is a colorful presentation. This is an excellent presentation. And I'd like to invite my sweet sister, the queen of poetry, the queen of spoken word, Aku Sika Frimpoma, for an excellent poetry in honor of Dr. Akoto.
Ago. Adawro tonton sansai. Mejeshe die mu eda na mibo. October bosome. Nede tosu dunkro. Na chedi ampombasa kwa mi yadom sikrechi kantankrechi kanchrechere fenfensi amfenya nkropo. Eche oman Ghana. Ebibiman ni wiase nyina. Ni monyamfo na ni monyamu nyina faako. Nani monyamu nyira bedwam okwantimpo mokusi a woni mirikanko na momowa kokodro be ma ba Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto Owusu aduomi Owusu echao Afriyie saw tipe so da yepa tipe san pempem no apepe obenyansa fo nyansa bisa kwanta bisa nyansa bu akwa nyansa bu nkama kenta ne so be ma ba Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto Ghana minda wasia ebrum a precocious child who grew up to be sagacious, proficient, and a competent. Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto is a great leader and warrior who recoils before he attacks. His real qualities shows in his actions. Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto, many will be the adansia say, on Kasabebre, Watrayan say, Sebia Bruce Sebia Kronto, and Krehunu, and a yet dead day. He is not a verbose and a prolix. No. Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto, he doesn't babble, prattle, and gabble. Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto, an industrious man. He is a petunious and a sedulous person. Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto, Dria Wama Wokwanyame Wo Adorimu, Apumpo Toprampatum Fusamunti Wuso Nyomenina, Wacha Redampo Mafamu Mumfumfratre. Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto, an assiduous person who worked as an economist, senior economist, chief economic advisor over 18 years at the United Nations Coffee Organizations, and so he worked as a consultant at the World Bank and United Nations on soft commodities. Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto, 2008 to 2016, he became the Member of Parliament for Kwadaso, Asante Mantemo. 2017, he was appointed as the Minister for Food and Agriculture. Natapuo, Wachrena Batuo. Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto Nyansanie, Benyansafo Nimdifo, Ebra COVID-19 to a Yempofrimu, na Amaya Kasiampa Yahuano, no more Shoshia Setatato. They were dying out of anger, famine, starvation. Nayen, Yaya said the cats on a hot tin roof, perturbed and disturbed. We were even try and said Debbie or free the agriculture home. Or try and said Debbie, Major and Ne, Dr. Bafwa was say Akoto Yamen Fan Crency. Or say Yatatemi will crea yomu, Yatatim will crea yomu, on you now, Ma Asan said the Dipame, Benyan Safwa Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto, Sukonko, Yen Shawa Anka Edidie, Eboyen. Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto, your friend is Sekom, Wama Ebi and Ghana for Onka Binshe Mumpono, Nayajna Wapayano, Edi Adriani Bom Amawa, Reina, your friend is the competent leader, the crackerjack and expert person. Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto, Ghana, my Edawase, you are like the great hornbill, pen rises, the smaller hornbills bow down in respect. Dr. Owusu Warrior Kokono, Oka so very chimre kukua, change of 4 and a why. One a warrior koto, what's a barra kra, change of 4 and a why. Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto, Mr. Watapu, Achra Wabatso, your fruit, pa and a piano, a Santa Minda was say. Ghana mind was say, NPP abinda was say, a bibi mantam yinada was say, a yasin yina was say, what shay and sano kwasem, we dikam for papa. Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto, Onyan Kruponche Driam Pombasa Kwame Yadom, Ota Wechia, Piao, Manuesi, Medamasi.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Akushika Frempoma. Yeah. Oh. Sasu, you brought them here. Maybe they understand your language more than mine. Now, our chairman for this occasion has been very wonderful. Chairman, his name is always synonymous to Greater Accra NPP. He is a visionary leader, and he has spent considerable resources, energy, and of course, his intellect to the development of the new Patriotic Party. Now, he was the acting regional chairman of the NPP in 2017 and a member of the National Council of the NPP in 2014. He was the regional first chairman from 2013 to 2017 and the two-term constituency chairman for the Leisure Kuku constituency in 2004 to 2012. He is a team player, a revolutionary leader, the German scholar. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of this occasion, Chairman Afriyie Boy. Chairman will give us The closing remarks? No, now. Co-chairing this event is also an agriculturist. He's the product of the University of Ghana, Legon. He holds a professional certificate in corporate strategy. He obtained that in GIMPA. He holds professional certificates of execution management from NDPI. He's a foundation member, and as we say, the founding member of the new Patriotic Party. He was one time the regional youth organizer of the NPP, one time regional secretary of the NPP, one time regional vice chairman of the NPP, and a three-time regional chairman of the Volta region from 2001 to 2013. National Council member 2006 to 2013. He's a member National Disciplinary Committee from 2009 to 2018. He is the former Deputy Minister for Manpower, Youth and Employment. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Owusu Emmanuel. Put your hands together for, high-ranking members. Okay. All right, thank you so much. And I'd like to recognize the presence of Professor Emmanuel Selassie Asamoah. He is the Dean of Communication Studies right here, UPSA. Put your hands together for Professor Emmanuel Selassie Asamoah. We thank you so much. And as I indicated earlier on, I have seen several familiar faces, especially my former MP, Ablekuma North constituency here in the Greater Accra region, Honorable Justice Joe Appiah. Put your hands together for Honorable Justice Joe Appiah. They call it they do? Okay. And I appreciate the presence of the family members of Honorable Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto. All the family members, if you hear, there's a wave. All the family members here. We thank you for your support. We thank you so much for your support. Yes. Bafo Akoto. Yes. The national icon. And of course the royal patriot, Bafo Akoto. We will now enjoy a documentary which has been put together by the campaign team to highlight some of the achievements of Honorable Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto. Shall we enjoy the documentary? All right.
Over the years, contributed immeasurably to the growth and quality, stability and progress of the economic and agricultural sector of the Republic of Ghana. Your work with the flagship program Planting for Food and Jobs is outstanding. Your unparalleled commitment and loyalty is worth relating. You are a hero both home and abroad. We hereby express our utmost gratitude and appreciation. Signed from the CEO of TQ Farms, Mrs. Diana Nati.
Dr. Afriyie Akoto is a visionary leader who is not afraid of getting his hands dirty. The many transformations seen in Ghana's agricultural sector are testimonies of his leadership style. Ghana became the breadbasket of West Africa. Generating cities worth of farm produce for Ghana.
I just walked into the bank in Abidjan and said, hey, I'm doing this thing in Ghana, planting for food and jobs. Come and see, this is all government of Ghana money that we are using to do it. But we can supplement it with resources from you because you as a bank, you are more oriented towards agriculture. And they sent the team here, and within 1 year, they've gone through all the systems, including approval by their board, and we're out in the field. It was a record. It's never happened.
Nanado na ban say yedda na sisa wodi sa program we dia breye ne waso mama ya atimi ya adipa maya yenso yedi ho faso.
According to the Ghana Statistical Service, the agricultural sector recorded an accelerated growth rate of 8.4% in 2021 as compared to the 7.4% recorded in 2020. The sector's growth in 2021 represents the highest rate under the Fourth Republic. In 2019, Ghana was ranked 4th on the African continent by the Economic Intelligence Unit (EIU) in its Global Food Security Index (GFSI). In that year, the sector grew by 4.7%, followed by 7.4% at peak of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 and 8.4% in 2021. This performance was seen as a sterling one and was compared to the Comprehensive Africa Agricultural Development Program (CAADP) benchmark target of 6% growth of agriculture for the attainment of national food security. The relaunched National Cocoa Rehabilitation Program, which involved cutting of cocoa trees affected by the cocoa swollen shoot virus disease (CSSVD), treating the whole farms and replanting them with disease-tolerant, early-bearing and high-yielding cocoa varieties across cocoa-growing regions, saw thousands of farmers who had abandoned their cocoa farms return to their farms. Dr. Akoto enhanced the welfare and living standards of cocoa farmers in Ghana by ensuring they earn decent income by making cocoa farming lucrative and sustainable. During his time at the ministry, the Ghana-Israel Youth Exchange Program was introduced, seeing over 200 students from various agricultural colleges and universities travel to Israel for 11 months intensive and practical agricultural training to acquire knowledge of the Israeli agricultural system aimed at broadening their knowledge and skills in agricultural production.
We congratulate the government and the Minister of Agriculture for giving us this massive opportunity to travel to Israel to expand our knowledge in terms of agriculture. So we thank them so much for the opportunity.
The implementation of the construction of 3 greenhouse training centers with an attached commercial unit at Dowinya, Akumedan, and Bodriase saw the training of young men and women in high-quality vegetable production for consumption. These vegetables are sold to high-end shops such as Palace Mall, ShopRite, Starbites, KFC, and Burger King in Tema, Accra, and Kumasi. In 2020, an Act of Parliament established the Tree Crop Development Authority to coordinate and promote the development of 6 tree crops, namely cashew, rubber, oil palm, coconut, mango, and shea, under the stewardship of Dr. Akoto. At full development, these selected crops have the combined potential of generating an additional $12 billion per annum to supplement the annual $2 billion from cocoa. Prior to Dr. Akoto's resignation in January this year, he initiated a bill in Parliament for the establishment of the Grains Development Authority and have already prepared a memorandum for cabinet consideration.
education, and God be so good. The Patriotic for Food man, who is Honorable Afriyie Akoto, he told us he will do it for us. So we are taking it as a joke just recently. And he called us that we should come. So when we came here, we saw a series of tractors here. And lo and behold, we are able to get some. And it's subsidized. So I'm telling the whole country that it's rare that if you run to the ministry and you have your percentage, the subsidized one, you'll be able to get one to your constituency or you get one to your locality.
In the midst of global and local economic challenges, in November 2022, Dr. Akoto, in response to the numerous cries and plight of Ghanaians, introduced the PFJ market and the Planting for Food and Jobs policy at the premises of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to sell food at cheaper prices to Ghanaians. To mitigate the impact of rising food prices. As a result of the success of the project, the initiative was extended.
A thriving agricultural edifice which will feed not only West Africa, but will feed Africa as a whole. And
applause for the nights. And I would like to say a big thank you to TESCOM, UPSA, most especially Gaddafi Achapon, the president of TESCOM. If you are here, we thank you. And of course, the vice president, Promise Dogwe Seiram. You have been working so hard for us. Members of TESCOM, thank you so much. Honorable Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto, you have a very large audience, and MPP is fully represented here. Not just any ordinary member of the NPP, but these are distinguished chairmen of some constituencies who are here to support you. And I'd like to acknowledge the chairman of the NPP for Domi Kwamenya, Mr. Osei Bonsu. And the chairman for Adenta constituency, Koku Akulache. Also chairman for Anya Soutum, Anthony. Thank you. I move on to Shai Osudoku and welcome Chairman Francis Martin. From Domiabra Obom constituency, we have Chairman Joshua Odate Lamte. And of course, the second vice chairman of Onyaso, Ayawaso West, Mr. Emmanuel Nate, also here to support Dr. Akoto. We have the chairman, the chairperson for Leje Kuku constituency, Gifty, also here with us. Gifty, thank you so much. And chairman for Medina, Foster Arthur. Chairman for Ablekuma Central, Honorable Robert Kwame Dazi. And all the regional chairmen here with us, the first regional chairperson, Honorable Joanna Frances Ado, also here to grace the occasion. Thank you so much. Now, before I give the chairman of the occasion the opportunity to speak to us and give us a closing remarks, I know you've heard a song called Sewunya Akukofuna. Yana wunya sreba. Ana wunya sreba nswa. Unya akukofunu. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Great Apple!
Sabiabi. Yaje Sabiabi.
Auditorium of UPSA. Yes, I enjoy the ambience. Gentlemen up there, please, a bit. Before I invite the chairman to give us the closer remarks, I want to recognize the presence of the chief of Kontnase at Ajinase, Nana Country Ampere. Thank you so much, Nana, for also being here. The chief of Kontnase Ajinase. Nana, Yemo Akwaba, Piao. And then again, the chairman for Koli Clote constituency, Madam Juliana Abuaje, also here with us, Auntie Juliana Abuaje. We thank you. And all the constituency executive present and the regional coordinators for Dr. Akoto. Of course, we have friends of Dr. Akoto in all constituencies across Ghana. A round of applause for yourselves. I'd like to invite our distinguished chairman for this great event. And as I indicated earlier on, if you want the world's attention, if you want a national attention, one center that we have to be is the UPSA auditorium. And today, we are all, today, we are all witnesses to an impressive presentation delivered by our own, the one and only, Honorable Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto. It's on these premises that I invite our distinguished chairman to give us the closing remarks. Shall we put our hands together once again for our chairman?
Kukudu. 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 Now you know that with Dr. Akoto and Agric, we shall get there. Normally, I'm supposed to have spoken with you before Dr. Akoto, but because of our time with the media, I couldn't do that. So when the chief speaks, then it's like we've heard all. With Akoto and Agric, we are going to get there. I will take this opportunity to thank the regional executives, the constituency executives, the area coordinators of the constituencies, and then the polling station executives who are here. The media, the pressmen, thank you so much for coming to witness Dr. Akoto lectures. I thank you once again, and hopefully me and you, hopefully with Akoto, we shall get there 2024. Thank you so much for coming. Youth.
Thank you, Shaman. Thank you so much for that wonderful and inspirational words of wisdom. As now, once again, I recognize the presence of some important and distinguished chairmen from all the constituencies, most especially those who came all the way from Uti and the Volta region. And I'd like to say a big thank you to you, Elijah, all the way from Nkwanta North in the Volta and Uti region. Thank you, Chairman, for coming. And Kratchi West, Chairman Douglas Amanfo, also here. Chairman, can we have a wave? If you are here, we thank you so much. And Kratchi East, Chairman Boateng Jemfi, we thank you for honoring our invitation. And Kratchi Nujumuru, Chairman Emmanuel Obuda, thank you so much for gracing this occasion for us. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this lecture has been a fulfilling one, an academic one, full of intellectualism. And we say thank you, Honorable Dr. Akoto. And not only that, we know all the things that you've said here. This beautiful presentation will go a long way to reshape the future of this country. We pray that indeed, when you have the mantle, all the things that you've raised here will come into fruition. We are proud of you because we know you will do it and you can do it. Another round of applause for Honorable Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto. And I believe that this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning right here from UPSA. Across the country, so those of you in Kumasi, those of you in Tamale, those of you in Takrady, those of you in Ho, Cape Coast, watch out for Dr. Owusu Afriyie Akoto. I would like to invite Peter, small. Now he is the national coordinator for Akoto for President 2024. And I've invited him here to say thank you for this colorful event and to wish you all the best. A round of applause for the national coordinator.